People do not assume to know what will make them truly happy. We can't just assume that we know what is going to make us happy. We can't just assume that getting that job or signing that client or dating that person or getting married or moving to that place or looking that way is going to be it. At one point, Christmas made a lot of us more happy than it does now. At one point, a birthday party made us feel a lot more happy than it does now. If money made you happy when you were broke, the same amount of money is not going to make you happy when you're rich. Emotionally intelligent people do not assume being fearful is a sign that they are on the wrong path. A sign that you're on the wrong path is indifference. If you are fearful about something, that is not a sign that you're on the wrong path. You're being pushed towards something. That's intention. Who knows if it always will be the right thing? What we do know is that you're on the right path. It might not lead to exactly where you want, but you're going into a direction you know you need to go into. They know that happiness is a choice, but do not feel they need to make that choice all the time. Happiness is not a sustained state of joy. Being happy is moment by moment. If you were only experiencing one emotion all the time, then that's not living. You're not living. You're just in existence. Living the human experience means that you experience all the emotions. And you should allow yourself to say, I'm not in a happy state right now. Emotionally intelligent people know that a feeling will not kill them. You're not going to die because you're angry. You're only going to die if you start doing stupid things because you're angry. Emotionally intelligent people do not confuse a bad feeling for a bad life. When you fight the bad feeling, when you fight the bad day, that is anything but peaceful. If you just come to grips with this is just not a good day for me. It's not my day. I got bad news. I lost a client. Somebody hit the back of my car on the way to the gym, and I just want to go home, go to sleep, and start this one over tomorrow. That's part of life. If I'm fighting against that bad day, if I'm fighting against that bad feeling, I'm causing war within myself. You're able to have peace when you just accept it. This is a bad stretch of life, or this is a bad day, or this is a bad week. These are bad feelings. But this doesn't make it a bad life.
Live
and alive. All you come in this morning. All you come in this morning. What? There we go. I got you. All you come in. Morning to Aretha. Good morning to Codex. Good morning to Conversation with J Moderators. Good morning to y'all. I appreciate y'all being here on this beautiful Wednesday. Do you know they used to call Wednesday Hump Day when I was in school? We used to find that just hilarious.
Really?
They call it Hump Day out there.
Well, to be honest, I don't even know what that means. I've heard it before, but what does that even mean? Hump day.
Well, if you think about it, right? Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Wednesday is the
Mm-hmm.
hump. See? Monday,
Yeah.
Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So Wednesday is the climax. It's the day, it's the middle of the week, well, the work week or the school week.
Hmm.
But of course, little immature kids, we just thought that was hilarious. Hump. It's hump day.
Well, when I've heard it, I always used to think that it's like when you get your, thing on.
When you get your what?
when people start humping each other. And that's what I used to
Yo, that's crazy, bro.
think.
Man,
Oh God.
you heard about this? This I would like your opinion on this one. So Carmelo Anthony, the basketball player, well, the NBA player. I have to say that now because then there's the other Carmelo Anthony that has been in the news. But Carmelo Anthony, the basketball player, he um, he got inducted into the NBA Hall of Fame. So
Mm-hmm.
congratulations to him. Shout out to him. He was one of my favorite players growing up.
Nice.
And he used to be married to Lala. I don't know her last name before they got married, so I just always knew her as Lala Anthony. But Lala, the girl from, I think she's from MTV. You know Lala?
I don't think so. The name
Oh,
isn't ringing a bell, but maybe if I saw a photo.
yeah, I think she's from MTV. Anyways, she got married to Carmelo Anthony. They had a rough marriage, to say the least. I'm pretty sure he had an outside child during their marriage, and they were on and off. And anyways, in the grand scheme of things, they ended up getting divorced. Um, and he just got inducted to the NBA Hall of Fame. She was married to him for, I believe, the like most of his career, um, or at least the parts that he was the best at, like during the parts where he was performing the best. Put it that way. And it was just very interesting. He didn't thank her in his Hall of Fame speech. Now, if his wife wasn't in the public eye, nobody would care, right? No, she has fans and followers and stuff like that, so people care. But if his wife wasn't in the public eye, nobody would care. I don't know if Dwayne Wade thanked his wife when he got inducted to the Hall of Fame, but his first wife is not in the public eye. So I mean, I don't think anybody would have even batted an eye. But it's a conversation because Lala Anthony is also famous. So I'm wondering, do you think there's something wrong with him not thanking his ex-wife who was married to him for the bulk of his career, specifically during his best days in the NBA?
I mean, if he,
First, do you
if
think that was on purpose, that was planned?
it
And
it, it could be. Mhm.
what do you think about that? What do you think about him not thanking his wife?
I
And
feel like
chat,
if he
feel,
think that
feel
she
free to
didn't
chime
play,
in if you're in here.
yeah, I feel like if he strongly believed that she didn't play a pivotal role in the success. I mean, you did say it yourself that that they had a rough marriage, so maybe he perceived that all his greatness, that all that had happened in the NBA with him, those great moments, was in spite of her.
Hmm.
So
So you think that he thinks, or he might think that
mhm,
she had nothing to do with him being great in NBA.
yeah.
And what do you think about that? Do you really think that I mean, how would we know, right? But we're just going to put on our detective hats for a second, or not investigative hats, just a detective hat, and we're going to try to come up with a theory.
um I, I think it's wrong. I mean, you should always thank your wife. You should, no matter what. But yeah, I feel like the fact that you cut her out.
So I think yours is more like an indifference opinion. Mine is like there has to be some sort of aggressive opinion. Aggressive reason behind it. Your reason is more like indifferent. Like, hey, look, you didn't help me really that much. I did it in spite of our relationship. I think if it was on purpose, and he really just really wanted to specifically leave her out of his, thanking people. Remember, it's also the mother of his children, right? Um, I think that he must be saying, I could have had a better career if it wasn't for you. I think that's what he has to be saying. Aretha says she raised their child while being while he was being great, so she played a big part in it. Yes, that's my point. So like she had to have done so he has to have animosity. You know what I'm saying? I think they have 2 children together. Good morning, Maria. Good morning. I think they have 2 children together. I know they at least have the older son. I forgot his name, but that kid could play some ball. I think he's going to go to the NBA. But my point is that she was raising at least that one son, if not other children. And I don't know. I always wonder if those things are on purpose or if he just forgot or what. But I'm gonna go and watch a speech. I hadn't watched it. I just saw the headlines, so I was just thought I'd bring it up and ask you. I think that's a lot of different people might have a lot of different opinions. I believe that if you're married to somebody, no matter what, you're in a partnership with them, and so unless they did something crazy to make it harder for you to achieve what you're being awarded for, then I think that they also should be thanked. That's me, but I've never been married, and I'm currently not married. So I'm currently not married, never been married. So I don't know exactly what the dynamics are there. Aretha says they only have they only have one child. He had another child outside the marriage. I knew that part. I think he got another chick knocked up while they were married. Yeah. So yeah, that's that. But let's get into a little bit speaking about anxiety this morning. The book I was reading this morning was the 5-second rule. I was reading the anxiety part. So we're going to get into it real quick. And let's see. All right. So the book was talking about worrying. I personally was putting a bunch of, give me a second. There we go. I wrote a bunch of stuff because I've read this book multiple times, but I wrote some stuff that I really related to. One of those things that I was relating to was that I grew up worrying. I grew up like a warrior. Also a warrior, but you guys know WORRY, WORRIER. I think that's how you spell warrior. But I also grew up a warrior, like ready for battle. My mom used to leave me at home when I was a kid quite often. My mom in the beginning was a single mom, then she married my stepdad. But in the beginning, she was a single mom. And so she oftentimes had to like go to work or go to the store or whatever. And at that time, it was just me and my other brother. And so I'm like maybe 7 years old and 6 years old sometimes. And this is like before cell phones, like before all that stuff. So my mom would say, like, I'm going to go to work. I'll be back at this time. I'm going to call you guys at this time or this time. Or she'd say stuff like, I'm going to go to the store. I'll be back at this time. Look at the clock. I'll be back by this time, whatever. And as soon as she would leave, I would just worry. Like I would worry so much. Like I was a crazy warrior. And I used to, so I grew up with my grandmother, but my mother also had an apartment. It's weird. Like, so, but like, for example, on a weekend, I'd be sitting down watching cartoons in the morning. My mom has to go run errands. So I would sit there and eat my breakfast, watch TV. She goes, runs errands, and I'm timing it based on the TV shows. And if good morning, April, and if she's not back yet, I'm freaking out. So there was this one time, it was like an evening, and I was so worried that I called my grandmother, and I was like, oh, like, mom left, she's not here. She's like, so I didn't know what to do. I thought she was like kidnapped or something, right? Spoiler alert, she wasn't. But I thought she was. So there was a police station down the block. So I took my brother and I was like, yo, let's go. We got to go report mom missing. I'm telling you, I was a crazy kid. So I go to the police station and report my mom missing, like legit. I was like, oh, my mom left. She never came back. I was like 6, 7 years old this time. Like my mom, and if I was like 7 years old, my brother was like 5 years old. And I was like, our mom left. She hasn't come back. We don't know what to do. We want to report her missing. So I know, psycho. So you must imagine my mother's dismay when she comes home. The door's open. Her kids are gone. The door's open. The kids are gone. She's thinking that we're kidnapped now. Right? So I'm thinking she's kidnapped. She's thinking that we're kidnapped. So she calls the police. And the police say, actually, ma'am, your boys are here. She comes into the police station fuming, why would you leave, blah, blah, blah. And then the police are telling her they're not old enough to stay at home alone. But, and so it was a whole thing. We got the ass whooping of our life. Well, I got the ass whooping of my life mostly because I was the leader. And that ass, it lasted like 3 days. It was like one of those, I don't know if you guys ever got your ass bust so bad, and then you get your ass bust until your parent is tired. then you go to sleep, but then they get more energy, so they wake you up to bust your ass again. Oh man, it lasted probably like 3 sleep cycles, I'm telling you. But that's how I tell the story to tell you, like, that's how I came from. Like, that's the warrior I came from. And it's because of my grandmother. Like, I lived with my grandmother for the most part until I was 12. And she was a warrior. And my mom was a warrior, right? And it's like worrying is hereditary. Especially if you're in like a culture with people who worry about every single thing. You know, especially I'm from a Caribbean family, so Caribbean culture, they worry about everything, right? And especially like my grandmother grew up in the country, so us growing up in the city was a lot different, right? So she would be worried about everything. And you know that back then, especially, people just, their eyes are always glued onto the news, and the news is always telling you all the bad things that are happening around, right? So it doesn't make anything any better, right? And so, you know, I grew up with a lot of worry and anxiety. I recently, and when I say recently, probably in the last 5 years, I recently found out what anxiety actually is. I don't mean scientifically, I mean logically and philosophically. Anxiety and worry, and I'm not talking about like real anxiety. I'm just talking about the feeling of being anxious and worrying. I'm not talking about real anxiety. Like I've also had that. I haven't had an episode in a while, maybe a couple of years. But my mother had that too. She used to have to breathe through paper bag and stuff like that when I was growing up. And I caught a little bit of that, and it just comes out of nowhere. It's not like I'm nervous or anxious or anything, but sometimes I just can't breathe. Like sometimes it just happens. It just comes. Everything's going well. 1 minute I'm in a drop top convertible singing with my friends, and then next minute I can't breathe. So it happens. But I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about the feeling of being anxious and the feeling of worry. It stems from having too many options. It stems from having too many options. Let me explain. When you have so many things that can happen, so many what ifs. What if, you get hit by a car, and what if the plane crashes, and what if, you get food poisoning, or what if. It's like there's too many options. And so because there are so many options, there's so much uncertainty. And because there's so much uncertainty, our mind assumes the negative and assumes, okay, there's so many bad things that can happen. And we get anxious. A lot of times we say nervous. We'll use that. What if I go to perform, or what if I don't make the shot, or what if I don't perform well, or something like that. Like there's anxiousness and nervousness that we feel. And oftentimes these are negative feelings. Okay. And then we do the stupidest thing ever. We start repeating the behavior over and over again until it becomes a habit. So then we're just warriors, right? We're just in the habit of doing it all the time. It just becomes a pattern of behavior. And so we end up in this anxious cycle and this worry cycle. And every time we do something new or do something period, we jump back into that cycle. And the problem is actually that, especially nowadays, where everybody's so accessible and things are so accessible and thoughts are so accessible and information is so accessible, it's like we have like overload in this cycle. I remember going on a date with this girl in LA. We went to walk her dog. There's this food market, and we were just we were like stopping, like, walked into the food market, stopped, looked over here, looked over there, stuff like that. And all of a sudden she was just like, I got to get out of here. I got to get out of here. And I was like, what? She's like, take him. She gave me the leash for the dog. She's like, take him. I got to get out of there. Meet me on the other side. I was like, the hell? What? Okay. So I went, and I'm like, are you all right? She was like, there's so many things going on in there. Just like way too many things going on in there for me. And at first I thought it was, oh, wow, like there's like a medical condition or something here. Like I didn't know. I'm sorry. But then after getting to know her, I just realized that it was just a pattern of behavior of being overwhelmed very easily and being trapped in that cycle. At first I thought this was like she was on medication for something. Then I just realized it was a pattern of behavior. I gave her a couple of things to do that I'm going to give you guys to do. And she was fine after that. So sometimes it's a simple solution, and we don't always have a go-to all the time. So I'm going to dive into a simple fix. Okay. I'm going to dive into a simple fix. All right. We have to understand that when worrying takes over, when that stuff takes over, it usually takes over when we're not focused on one thing, when we're not paying attention. When we're focused on one thing, like, for example, you worry all the time throughout the test, but don't you realize whenever you sit down to write that exam or do the test, don't you realize you're actually not worrying anymore? Because you're in it, you're doing it. Like when you're in the moment, you worry for a week about the moment, but then when you're in the moment, you're no longer worried. You experience anxiousness for weeks before the moment, but then when you're in the moment, you're not anxious anymore, right? And that's because worry, anxiousness, nervousness, those feelings, they creep in when we're not paying attention, when we're not focused on something. So if you constantly worry, it actually means that you constantly don't have a focus, a one thing, an intention. Constantly, your mind is everywhere. That's the way that it creeps in. You're not focused on one thing. You have a lack of direction. You have a lack of focus. You have a lack of intention on a day-to-day basis. I think a good word that I've heard is scatterbrained. right? Like your mind's everywhere. And that's how you make mistakes. That's how your mind just wanders here and there and do. Simple thing to do for that. I know it sounds corny, but it works. Is meditation. Now, when I say meditation, I don't mean I'm not talking about that kind of meditation. The way I explain meditation is very simple. Just imagine all of your thoughts are cars on a freeway, and you're standing on the edge of the freeway. That's you, your mind. And all of these cars are just flying by, and they're all thoughts. Instead of chasing all the cars that fly by like a dog, let them pass. Car passed you. There goes another car. Well, that's one yellow one. Okay, cool. Another car and another car. And you just let them pass. That's what meditation is. So basically, when people say focus on your breath or count from whatever, it's giving you one thing to focus on. And the thoughts are going to come. All these thoughts, you can't control the thoughts that go into your mind, but you can control what you do with them, and you don't chase them because you're focused on your count, or you're focused on your breath, or you're focused on the sounds around you, or you're focused on the smell, or whatever it is, right? It's just practice. It's just practice. That's all meditation is. It's practicing, focusing on one thing and not allowing your mind to be taken away by all the thoughts that race through it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Your mind doesn't shut off. Even when you sleep, you're still thinking. That's why you wake up with the best idea you ever had. Or you wake up in the middle of the night in cold sweat because you were dreaming, right? Your mind doesn't turn off. So you need to practice, or we need to practice, the ability and develop the skill to focus on one thing, period. Because when we don't do that, that's when the worry, that's when the anxiousness, that's when the anxiety kicks in. Notice when you're worried sometimes, you probably do this already without even maybe realizing it. The worry kicks in, and then you're like, let me keep myself busy. Let me go and clean the bathroom. Let me go and do some dishes. I got to keep myself busy until that flight lands and I know my loved ones have arrived safe. Yes, Aretha, idleness. Yeah, that's a great, exactly. Because when we're idle, you're not cleaning the bathroom, your thoughts wander, then the worry kicks in, right? So that's what we're like, let me go for a walk. Let me clean the bathroom. Let me do something to get my mind off of this. Because worry and anxiety, they catch you when you're not paying attention, when you're down, when your guard is down because you're not focused on something. So you're going to naturally get rid of most of your worry if you develop the skill to focus. And one of the best ways to do that is meditation. It's like going to the gym for your brain. It's the best exercise you can do for your brain, not those math puzzles, not those little games on your phone. By the way, those games on your phone, they've done studies, they don't make you smarter. Just letting you know. You want to actually sharpen your mind, learn the language. Learning a new language is the thing that actually makes you the smartest. It gives your brain the most exercise as it pertains to memory, connecting what you see to understanding and comprehension, like all that stuff. It even helps you in the language that you already speak naturally. Your native language. It even helps you be better at your native language. So if you are looking to exercise your brain, throw those games away, cancel your subscription, and just go learn a language. I digress. The best thing that you can do to strengthen your brain and to build the skill is meditation. And it doesn't take long. All you got to do is take 3 to 5 minutes every single day in the morning and just focus on one thing. Practice that. All right. So that's one simple fix. That wasn't in the book, though. What was in the book is another, I guess, example I can give you guys about my own life. Oh, there was one more thing in the book before I get into that. The book says not only to focus on one thing, because that's what I was saying. The book also says, even if the worrying thought or those thoughts come into your mind, just replace them with positive ones. So lean into it basically. So if you're thinking my daughter is on a trip with her school to Portugal, anything can happen to her. Think about the great things that can happen to her. She could possibly, be working on her Portuguese. She could be learning to cook, so when she comes home, she could cook something, and I don't have to cook all the meals. She could be making new friends that are going to be great for her life moving forward. Maybe she wants to study there permanently, and I can finally get her out the house. Just think of positive things. That's another thing that says in the book. I forgot about that part, but thank God I have my notes. All right. When I was a kid, I did everything. I did all the stuff. I did sports. I did music. So I played the drums in 3 different bands: a stage band, a symphonic band, and a contemporary band. I wrote music. I performed in talent shows. I obviously played basketball. I did all the stuff. Okay. And because I did all the stuff, I was always performing. I would have to do public speaking. I used to do the prayer at church. I used to play in the church band. I used to have to play. I played in 3 different bands. I played school basketball, played rep basketball, and then I played summer basketball, like AAU basketball. I performed all the time, constantly. And as you guys know, I was a crazy worrying kid, right? I was a crazy worrying kid. So you could imagine if I'm going to the police station at 7 because I think somebody kidnapped my mother, you could imagine how it was when I had to the curtains open and I have to start singing. Or I was also in a little rap group when we were growing up. Or start rapping on stage in front of my peers at school, or start playing the drums, or at the free throw line and the stands are filled with all of my peers, or, the championship game, right? You could imagine how my heart would go crazy in those moments, right? How that would impede my performance at times. I remember when I was 16 or 17, around there, I started modeling carnival costumes, maybe 18. And I remember there was this guy, he was one of the costume designers. And again, I was nervous to go down the runway in those costumes. Don't cover a lot part of your body. I was always subconscious about being skinny. And so I remember him saying here, take, have this. And he gave me a drink. And I was like, what is it? And he's like, it's liquid courage. It was just rum. And he was like, it's liquid courage. You'll be fine. And so I thought, okay, well, there's a perfect solution. Take a shot and you'll be good, right? And I quickly realized it wasn't a perfect solution because you feel like crap after. Well, at least I did at that time. And so I didn't really know how to really change this nervous feeling. Then I went to an amusement park on these roller coasters, and I love the thrill of roller coasters. And I started thinking, I was in the line, and you can see a lot of times the nervousness on people's face when you're in the lineup, right? A lot of people are giving nervous laughs, and a lot of people aren't necessarily making eye contact with sometimes the ride goes up and it's going up, and if you're close enough, you can see it climbing, and you're like, oh gosh, boy, oh boy. And then you can see the people get off the ride. And they're like, oh my gosh, that was crazy. Oh, it's night and day. You see the people going on and they're the lineup where they're nervous, but then you can also see the part where they exit the ride and they're going crazy and they're all like, yo, wow, oh my gosh. Some kids saying, let's do it again. You guys want to line up again? And I'm like, this is so strange. I just remember standing there. I must have been around 18, 17, something like that. I just remember standing there. It's so weird how everybody's so nervous and then they're excited after. And then I started thinking, it seems like it's the same exact thing. It's just one is smiling and one is not. And then I thought to myself, I think it is the same thing. So I started telling myself, your body, Jay, is doing the same exact thing, whether you're nervous or excited. It's just that your brain is interpreting one as being nervous and one as being excited. So I said, let me try it. Instead of being nervous, I'm going to just start doing what they do when they come off the ride. Oh, wow, I'm going to do that stuff before the ride and see how it works. So I did it. And as we were climbing, I'm like, let's go, woo, yeah. And I was like, okay. And I started just doing a whole bunch of stuff. People are like, what's wrong with this guy? But it was because I usually am like, oh boy, okay. And instead I just flipped the script. I said, aha, brain, you ain't gonna get me this time. I was never again nervous on a roller coaster in my life. And I took that to a whole bunch of other things. And then I realized that we actually do it in basketball. And I didn't realize we were doing it the whole time. You'll see, I sent you a video earlier this morning. I don't know how many people have been to like high school basketball games, college basketball games, stuff like that. But we do that before the game. We have what we will call like a hype up or a huddle. And we dance in the middle and we have a circle and we dance. And what we're really doing is we're turning those nervous thoughts into excited thoughts so that we can use the energy of nervousness to actually make us perform better. I'm going to give you guys an example of what I mean. Yo, drop that video. Just skip a little bit through it. Play, 5-10 seconds and skip to the next one. It's 6 minutes long. It's a compilation. But for those of you guys who do not know what this looks like, this is what it looks like. So play it like 10 seconds in this and keep skipping through.
Y'all get it?
All right, I think we got the point. These are just a bunch of nervous kids, y'all. These are just a bunch of nervous kids. They're a bunch of nervous kids, and they are probably not realizing what they're doing. They're turning their nerves into excitement. It's the same thing your body's feeling, but they're taking that and they're building momentum. And actually, even when I thought this, when I was a teenager and I came up with this and it started working, like when I played the drums, it started working. When I went and performed in front of audiences or crowds, because by then I was also performing at like clubs, and I was performing at like events, and I was performing at like colleges and stuff like that, right? And by then I was like, whoa, like this works, so it must be real. And I'm telling you, I know, I just told you the moment I came up with it, but now there's research that proves that my theory was correct the entire time. There's actually research that proves it. And the research is in this book. The research is in this book. And not only, according to this book, not only does this get rid of the nervousness, it actually makes you perform better. That's right, Aretha, it's hyping you up. It actually makes you perform better. So you could actually use that nervousness to perform better. It's just an anxious feeling that you can control and convert into a feeling of excitement. And with that positivity, you blast through the challenges, right? You step up to the plate, you blast through the challenges. A lot of people say, I work better under pressure. Well, that's probably because your body is naturally doing this a lot. without you even having to consciously do it. Your body's probably subconsciously doing this a lot. Like, okay, I got to perform. Let's take this anxiety that I have and turn it into positive energy to crush this thing. And you get laser focus. So therefore the worries and not all the anxiousness, it can't hit you, right? Remember we talked about that earlier. The worries and anxiousness, they come for you when your guard is down and you're not focused and you're idle. But now you're focused. Now you're laser focused, and you take that energy, and now all of a sudden you did things that you couldn't do before. Pressure in Trinidad we say pressure does bust pipes, but you know what else pressure does? It makes diamonds. It makes diamonds. So I realized that this anxiousness is actually pretty good. This anxiousness is actually a good thing. So welcome the worry, welcome the anxiousness, convert it into excitement, and allow it to help you to perform better. However, in the times that it's not useful, nor anxiousness nor excitement is useful. Like if you're worried about somebody who's flying right now or traveling right now, let's say, for example, you don't need to be excited for anything. You're just sitting. I don't need to be excited to watch TV or something like that. Like, let's say you're sitting in the living room watching Netflix and you just constantly keep worrying about them. You don't need to be excited for that. So what's the point of trying to convert that into an energy that's going to help you to be excited? In those situations, stop being idle. Learn to focus your skills on making sure that, hey, I'm concentrating on this one thing. And also, I'm not chasing all these cars that are running by. And then the last technique that's in the book is convert those same thoughts into positive ones. So instead of thinking of their plane crashing, think of their plane landing and them getting through security nice and easy, and getting through customs nice and easy. And they're going to call you as soon as they get to the hotel, and they're going to be like, this was the best flight of my life. I hope that helped, but we're going to probably do a lot more on anxiousness and worry, because I have seen it just on my day-to-day interactions with the world. I've seen an uptick on a lot of anxiousness and worry. And I think that there's something here in which people they stop at I just suffer from anxiety, or I just suffer from anxiousness, and then it doesn't make you powerful. Like, they just stop. So there's something here that we can convert into making each other powerful so that we can live in a better society. That's it for this morning, y'all. I appreciate you jumping on. The book is called 5-Second Rule. It's by Mel Robbins, who's a great public speaker, and I think she has a podcast, if I'm not mistaken. So go check her out. I've read this book multiple times. Actually, wrote a paper on it too, and I've actually also created a YouTube video in my other on my other channel. Which, by the way, we're gonna also start posting on my other channel. I have some other YouTube channels that I've used in the past. Maria says, excellent. I agree. Meditation is beneficial. Yes, absolutely. Shout out to you, Maria. See, when are we going to start posting these lives on the other channel?
We can start posting them today. And well,
next week. No, we had a date for it. Was it this week or next week?
Oh yeah, you're right. It was next week.
Next week. Okay, gotcha. We'll put the date out. Also, we have our regular Thursday live tomorrow evening. Our Thursday live, that'll be, I think, at 6 p.m. We have it scheduled for. And we were supposed to have a guest on our Thursday evening live last week. The guest canceled last minute. So we will have that guest this week. So that's going to be tomorrow. I will see you guys tomorrow twice. See you tomorrow morning, 7:30, and I'll see you tomorrow evening at 6 p.m. All right, y'all, go and be great. Greatness is a choice. It's a choice you make every single day. I appreciate y'all for being here, and enjoy Hump Day.
Spin out your rods in the air like a chopper. Hennessy punching Johnny Walker. Somebody tell the police they just can't stop us. Oh, when me choppers them. 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 Rods with me, flags with me, rods with me, flags with me, rods with me, flags with me. Yo, spin your rods in the air like a chopper. Wave your rods like a helicopter. Spin out your rods in the air like a chopper. Round and round like a helicopter. Spin your rods in the air like a chopper. Wave your rods like a helicopter. Spin your rods in the air like a chopper. High choppers fly helicopters. We drunk cause we drink like a fish in the water. So high is like the world spinning faster. Dripping with sweat but it don't really matter. The music making me ball out. We see ladies and we call out. Them girls and them whining all out. Look a fight in the back, them brawl out. What? Me no business about that. Girls on me mind, so me thinking about that. Woman in the place, so me hunting for that. Bumpers in me face, so me on the attack. Just give me Henny, yo, give me sack. Racial thing, white oak, Johnny Black. Oh gosh, I got catch a jet like 1919 does have me feeling high. Like a helicopter, spin out your rods in the air like a chopper. Hennessy punching Johnny Walker. Somebody tell the police they just